I tried my best. I really wanted to like this game, but it gradually wore me down. I'll stick to the issues I can explain without people having experienced the game. First of all, it runs horribly, and there are no excuses. Minimum requirement 4 gigabytes RAM, more like 16 gigabytes minimum and 32 gigabytes recommended. It takes up 4 gigabytes on the main menu alone and 8 plus during missions. Quite often, the FPS just drops to 20 and mostly stays there. It's not even when there are too many enemies, or something akin. There are simply some effects the engine can't handle. For example, on an empty map with no enemies or units, crafting a single building could lead to terrible performance because of spark effects and whatnot. One of the aspects of the game I dislike is how stingy it is. This is more of a personal preference, but after 15 hours and having done basically nothing, it tired me out. Every time you are faced with hundreds of enemies, instead of your soldiers going, "All right, boys, looks like alien meat is back on the menu," they are more like, "Okay, boys, we'll all have to pitch in. Yes, you too, Sebastian. The ammunition bubble burst a couple of weeks ago, and things are tough all around." It feels rather counterintuitive when you are always pitted against hordes. Even when you come across provisions during missions, you can't just take them. No, you have to put them in your inventory, which you are heavily incentivized to keep full by all the items that exist and you need. Special mention to the UI. I just hate it. It's one of the most cramped and ugly ones I've come across. Didn't make or break the game for me, but I would totally understand if someone immediately turned off the game because of it. At any given time, there is on your screen as much info as humanly possible, and it takes its toll. Combat is the part of the game I enjoyed for a while, yet they managed to turn it into a chore. Here is my gameplay experience. I start the campaign. I have no objectives and nothing to do other than scan the map. The only thing I can do is a 3-part mission. I don't know if there are handcrafted areas, but everything I came across was randomly generated and sucked for a plethora of reasons. In addition, you are spawned in maps with 100 plus enemies, and they all get to play. It takes forever. There is an enemy that, on death, spawns about 10 acid pools, which, if you used fire to kill it, they explode one by one. That guy alone takes 20 seconds to die. Every time I finish my turn, I literally go AFK for 5 minutes, and it's not always enough. First part of the mission was to find the exit to the next area. At this point, the game even tells you should fight as little as possible and make your way to the exit. Ha, good one. Randomly generated, remember? I didn't know where the exit was. There was barely enough space to move. Every area was filled to the brim with obstacles. And half the time, something dies. It leaves hazards behind it you don't want to step on. Almost all the passages were blocked, and not only I, but also most of the enemies had to destroy multiple walls to get anywhere. So, I had to kill a ton of enemies, destroy plenty of obstacles, all of which is costing me money, by the way, and it took me the better part of an hour to locate the exit. Part 2. Kill all the enemies. Randomly generated maps, inaccessible areas, long story short, it took me almost 2 hours to find and dig out the last 4 enemies, which had spawned in blind spots on the only tiles in those areas that were empty. The map wasn't even that big, but it had to spawn with knee-high water, which cut down my movement. Part 3 was fine, but I ran out of energy. I tried a few more things, but I was done. I didn't even make it to an actual mission, assuming they exist. Only random, non-optional events, some of which bugged out. I really don't want to play another mission like the aforementioned one, and I know there are some with at least 4 stages.